Good morning and welcome to the Table Scraps podcast.
On today's episode, Brevin Luehring is joining us. He's the owner and founder of Morpha Studio. We've worked with him a little bit over the last few years, and he kind of opens up about his story of how he got to this point.
And also all the work that he's doing at Morpha, which I don't understand, but when I look at it, it makes me feel things. So hope you enjoy. Okay, so what's this big announcement that you've been so anxious to reveal? Please indulge me.
You know that thing called the Sun Run? Canceled.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Okay, so then...
But there is a big announcement for it.
Well, then get to the announcement.
Cabana Blue is not going to be a part of it.
Oh, so it actually did fall through.
Yep.
That sucks.
I know. Anyway, how's your week been going?
Yeah, way to start on a high note. I thought this was going to be some sort of good announcement.
No, it sucks.
Great. My week's fine. It's been slow the past couple of weeks, but we're getting ready to travel. Bullshit.
You've been on it all week.
Well, it depends on, like, the work has been...
We're not talking about the work. I'm asking you how your week was.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, that's the interesting stuff.
To give you the cliff notes or the footnotes or whatever, the property next to mine is for sale, and my cousin and my friend and I have been trying to secure it. And by my involvement, I mean I've just been rooting them on from the sidelines because I don't have much to offer.
That you've offloaded the stress from them and put it on yourself.
Yeah, I've just sponged up all the anxiety for them and shared it with them. But yeah, it's been a wild process. I don't want to divulge too much information. I don't want to badmouth anybody, but
oh yes, you do.
I know, but I won't. But I won't. Because I don't want to somehow have this come back to bite me.
Yeah.
But let's just say it's been a 6-month process, and in the last week, shit has hit the fan. But we're still in the game. It's not over yet. And now we're just kind of sitting and waiting on information, see what the bank says.
Yeah.
But it's been a whole thing.
And also on your quiet week, had a nice 3-day wedding in there.
Oh, God, yeah.
It was a real calm week, though, right?
Yeah, maybe that's why I blocked it all out.
You're like,
stress.
I haven't been doing much with Scrapyard.
Yeah.
Well, here's why.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for Brad's brother and my best friend's wedding, Brian, I did a little private song for the wedding party for Jordan and Brian to dance to. I guess it was Brian's first choice for a first dance, but
That's what it sounded like.
They went with something a little bit more popular.
Mm-hmm.
So I just sang and played my acoustic guitar. Hadn't heard it before. It's a good song. It's very lovey for sure. But that took up the majority of my headspace for all of last week. Finally performed that on Saturday, and then come Monday, all this shit started happening with the realty thing. So I didn't really... I just went from one stress to another stress. So right now, honestly, I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Because at this point, we've done everything we can with that house. And now we sit and wait. So.
Well, the next 2 weeks we'll be on the road, so you won't have a choice but to immerse yourself
I think I kind of need
the
that.
life of Scrapyard.
And we're going to go shoot today, and we're going to go shoot tomorrow. So it's just kind of like if I'm sitting here in the office, all I'm doing is just
fielding calls.
Yeah, the whole time. Yeah, I'm just slanging deals, but... I'm glad that it's almost over.
Yeah.
And I really hope that Tim gets it. And then ultimately we'd like to split the property between Tim and Bill and I, and then just basically similar to what you guys got going on over here with the compound, just raise our families together. And I mean, who wouldn't want to live next to their best friends for the rest
and
of
Bill's
their life?
your brother-in-law.
Yeah. But we were friends before that. So like there's a good long history there. Tim, obviously my cousin, I've known him since he was born because I was born first, and 2 ideal candidates to live next to for sure.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me about your week.
You didn't ask.
Well, this is me asking. How was your week?
I mean, the wedding was incredible, and congrats to Jordan and Brian on their marriage. I think Brian was happy with the whole thing, and really that consumed the week. We had some other family in town, so just hanging out with them. We watched a couple of the NHL playoff games. But other than that, not much. I mean, Scrapyard, like you said, it's just kind of been a quiet week. We're ramping up for four consecutive trips, 3 of them Scrapyard related. So it's going to be busy in June. I'm looking forward to shooting more than just working at the computer.
Yeah, it's been a nice calm before the storm. I mean, I'm even looking forward to getting out there today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just getting
out. We got a fun one planned for today. You don't even know much about this yet. You're going to be shooting some cars today. A Demon Charger and a Ram TRX.
You want me to chase it with the FPV?
Maybe.
I mean, I'm not necessarily volunteering for that.
Hopefully those batteries are charged.
They definitely are, but it just depends, like, are there trees on the road and stuff like that?
Of course. Probably some flag poles and telephone wires.
Okay.
Good thing you've been practicing.
Yeah, I guess. See what happens.
Instantly, Bobby just starts sweating.
Yeah, dude, that thing is high risk.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to asking Brevin about that because he's been doing a lot of shoots with FPV.
Mm-hmm.
Should we, well, I guess I already said it, but that's our guest for today. We're having on.
Well, we'll have the intro. And we'll talk about it anyway. So if whoever's listening at this point already knows that Brevin's coming on, let us go grab him and get him on, yeah? And by go grab him, I mean dial him in.
I know, I wish he was here in person, but this will work.
Yeah. Okay. Elevator music.
Okay, my audio's going, video's going. I think we're set.
God, I stopped recording on our end. Oh, God. Well, welcome to the podcast. Sorry for those technical difficulties that we just had, but appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, thank you for making time for me. I'm excited.
Yeah, of course. Brad mentioned that you were in Vegas
last
night. I was just in Vegas last night. Before that, I was in Joshua Tree. I flew back in between for my fiance's brother's high school graduation. I'm very happy to be home.
What were you doing out there? Were you just traveling around for fun or meeting some clients? What was going
on? Joshua Tree was a vacation, and Vegas was a work trip for Oshkosh Corporation. So we were out there for an expo at the convention center for a few days, shot that, and yeah, we're back.
What is Oshkosh? Is that like the clothing company?
No, it's so everyone thinks that. It is a industrial technology company. So they own Oshkosh Defense, which does like military vehicles, JLG scissor lift, Pierce fire trucks, McNeilus, refuse vehicles. I think they've got like 12 brands underneath them.
But none of which are children's clothing. No
children's clothing.
Okay, got it.
The complete opposite, actually.
Right.
Yeah, they're a new client for us, and they've been keeping us busy. And that's actually where Andrea Jansen is now.
Nice.
Yep. So we're still working with her and her new team. But yeah.
So when you say we, is that Morpha? Like, is that your company?
Yep. Yeah. So Morpha is our studio company, and Notify is our digital asset company. Notify is still getting started up. But yeah, Morpha, I think I just hit my 2 years of business mark a few days ago.
Congrats.
Thank you. I can finally apply for talking to a bank, because nobody wants to talk to you unless you're over 2 years of business with 2 tax returns. So it's good to be here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've got 2 other employees, 3 with myself, small and nimble. But we get a lot done. So
yeah, you guys definitely get a lot done. We've obviously been doing some research, and
Bobby's been doing the research.
Yeah, I'm the research guy, but I was looking into everything that you got going on.
Like how many return yards you had in your high school football team.
Well, that's not.
Oh, yeah. He went deep.
My
my huddle stats are still on. I used to have an art director that I worked with, and he gave me shit for that all the time. He was like, "Dude, your high school stats are fucking ridiculous. Like, what were you doing?"
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just
It's a pretty uncommon name, so I just did a quick Google search and came back with a few things. And honestly, we'll get to them because I have a couple questions
God.
about some of
Yeah.
the stuff that I found. But I was thinking, and I want to get back to Morpha and to Notify, but if maybe we could start from the beginning of where this all started for you, like doing things creatively. Was that something that you were experiencing in high school? Was it something that you found out about in college? Was it a passion project? How did that all get started for you?
Sure. How far back? How far back you want to go? Do you want to go like the dawn of time,
Well,
basically?
So
well,
it's from the beginning.
well,
I'm not that old.
we
I'm
have
not
about
that
a
old.
half hour, so just keep that in mind.
Okay. So okay. I want to say I started with photo and video, mainly as like a joke because my friends and I growing up, we were the, skateboarders, snowboarders, BMXers. Like we loved to be outside and kind of mess around. Um, I ended up kind of picking up like my mom's camera that she like filmed my sister and I's like sports with. Um, Took that and just kind of like went out into the field with my friends, filmed us like doing stupid stuff around town.
I
And then
saw
eventually
I saw one.
learned.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
I was gonna say I saw one video on a YouTube, and you can tell me if this is yours or not because I'm pretty sure you were behind the camera. But it's Red Granite Cliff Jumping 2017. Was that you and your friends?
Yes, that was me and my friends.
Okay.
I think that's the only one that exists. I deleted
Publicly.
the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I deleted the rest. I still get a lot of shit from my friends that I deleted all those old YouTube videos, but I can't have anybody finding that.
Oh man, so there
I-
was a plethora. We just don't have access to them.
yeah, like,
Damn.
and I could have unlisted them, but I don't know. At the time, I just like deleted them, and
You straight up deleted them? Like where it says
Yeah.
delete forever, you click that checkbox?
yep. I have a weird relationship with like my past work, and we'll get into that a little bit, but like yeah, so started with friends and everything, and yeah, so fifth grade I started with all of that. And then as I got older into like 7th and 8th grade, ended up getting like a GoPro. I think I pirated like Final Cut Pro um around that time and was just still creating YouTube videos. I grew up in a very like small Midwest town, so what I was doing was pretty different from everybody else. So I think to some degree that like benefited me a little bit.
What do you mean
Because
by
I was
that?
one
Different?
guy in my small town that was like doing photo and video. So I would get hired for just random jobs as a pretty young kid, like going into high school. Um, and once throughout high school, same stuff, did like my round of like senior pictures and that type of stuff. And
Okay.
it was creative work, but I felt like it wasn't something that I was like still wanting to do.
Yeah, it
Um,
got old kind of fast.
It got old, and I'm also like, I'm not the biggest like go out into the field and shoot things anymore type of guy. Like the services that we provide right now are like polar opposite from what I started in. I'll say it like IRL versus like CGI. We're very like CGI focused right now. I would say 98% of our projects are all CGI. So once like senior year hit, it was definitely like it was one of those things where everyone was trying to figure out what they were going to do. I kind of knew what I was going to do. The only thing that I was kind of balancing was like, okay, do I go to college or do I just like jump into it and start working? I chose the jump into it and start working. I took all the money that I had saved, moved out to LA. I contracted for a few companies. I was editing for GoPro for like 3 months out there, and I basically flew out there with like 2 bags and a backpack.
Wow. You went Hollywood,
Least,
the Hollywood, the LA dream.
yeah, like the typical sort of just like get out of Dodge
Get out of
scenario.
my small Midwest town and I'm out of
I
here.
grew up
I'm
in
gonna be
Dodge
big.
County.
Okay.
Grew up in Dodge County, Wisconsin, and I literally got the hell out of Dodge to LA.
Oh God, how many times have you told that joke?
Yeah. It was just one of those things where like I thought it was going to be super cool, but man, was it expensive. I was super young and super dumb. Like I was not making logical decisions. I was just kind of going off of like pure impulse, which was fine at the time. I'm happy I did it. It was kind of like my college experience
Right.
to some degree.
Just less expensive.
Yeah, exactly. And then my grandfather had actually passed away when I was out there, and I was just like, this is stupid. I need to be back in Wisconsin. Like, there's no reason why I can't be doing what I'm doing in Wisconsin and being close to my family and everything. So I moved back. Um, I had a lot of people telling me like, oh, if you move back, like, you failed, and like, why would you move back? Like, you made this big kind of thing, moving out there, and it just wasn't like right for me. And I think that's okay.
Yeah, dude, screw them for saying that. I mean, first off, you actually
Yeah,
went, which is more than most people would do. You made the
yeah,
decision to skip college, which is something that we wish we probably would have done, to be honest with you, where we're at now.
Yep.
I think that you made the right decisions at the right time when it's okay to change your mind and make a few mistakes and whatever. Screw those people, whoever they were.
yeah. No, thank you. And yeah, moving back, I was like totally broke. Like I had nothing. I ended up moving to Madison, Wisconsin, and living in the basement of some friends that I met. And I was working at Best Buy actually in Madison in like the warehouse of that Best Buy, just trying to find like jobs. And eventually I got an agency job in Madison doing like social media and like video content. I was leading their video team. I think I was 18.
That was all
Um,
by 18 that you came back?
yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
So this all like happened in like a year. It was just like LA. I was only out there for like 5 or 6 months.
5 or 6 months that was worth multiple years probably in the school of hard
Yeah,
knocks.
just the experience. So then when I got that first agency job, that was kind of like very eye-opening to me because I didn't realize how impactful social media was um, on the creative industry. And I learned that very early on. I was like, okay, people are literally getting paid to create content for social. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it just connected a lot of dots for me because I was like, social media is consistency. It is happening every single day. Like people are signing contracts, to be able to have people manage it. And I was just like, this is crazy. And um, I was there for about a year, quit, and then I was just like, I can do this myself. Like this is, you know,
How old are you, Brevin?
I'm 26 right now.
Okay, so this is six-ish, 7-ish years ago.
Yep.
So
Yep.
social media and still very popular, but just a different ball game now. But kind of early on, you recognized that was going to be a pretty prevalent business as far as creative goes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was in that space for a few years, operating like my own business. I moved back in with my parents after I quit that job in Madison and just kind of built my business from the ground up.
What was it called then?
That was Shift Media House.
Okay. I know you've gone through some names, so I'm just curious to know like what the progression of them was.
Yeah, and this is an interesting kind of thing, like diving into this story, because I never really, like, my friends and family kind of know my path, uh, but I really don't talk about it publicly because it's been a wild ride.
Hmm.
Um, so
Well, it's good,
with
man. You should
yeah,
share because it's. I mean, similar to why we started doing this is it's more like promotional for people that are thinking about doing stuff like that, and it's like, okay, you could go move to California if you wanted to, and leave in 6 months and survive and continue on and end up where you're at too.
yeah, yeah. So with Shift, I actually I got sick of living with my parents. I was decided to get my own place, not too far away, but then I got an office up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And weirdly enough, I was living out of that office. I had my mattress in there. I showered at Planet Fitness. I worked like 20-hour days.
Wow.
And that was that was a pretty low point in that time of my life. I was like, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was just like beating down on my body so hard. I was like not eating. I think I had like bananas and peanut butter every single day for a meal, and just going to Planet, showering, maybe tossing in like a tan or two with the black card, and just coming back and working.
So at
Um,
that point, were you struggling to make ends meet, and that's why you're eating bananas and peanut butter? Are you just so focused
yeah,
on work that that's all you're dedicating all of your time to that, and like nutrition goes out the window and everything else?
yeah. No, I was super broke. Um, like, yeah, just it. I never really money was just never like a thing early on.
Yeah.
Like it really was just one of those things where I was so young. I had the opportunity to like be risky, so I was risky. Like I would put my money places only to get more business, and I didn't care about what that did for me personally. You know, if that meant that I was X amount of dollars in debt, I did not care. But if I could get more clients and sign more contracts, I was like okay with that. Um, so, and that kind of led up until it was like that until COVID, until like the state shut down. And then when that all happened, I was just like, I'm done. You know, like
Beat
there's
down.
no way. I definitely had a perception of COVID early on that was just like, this is gonna wipe my business out. I'm already doing kind of rough. Like I need to figure something out. Um, so one of my clients actually approached me uh, during COVID and was like, "Would you be interested in getting bought out and then starting a division at our company, um, where you're basically doing the same thing? It's just you have like the financial structure of our company. You don't have to handle invoicing anymore, taxes.
Yeah.
We have all the systems for you, whatever." So that was the formation of Studio. Um,
Okay.
when you edit that, by the way, do a bleep because I don't want to. I'm
Of
like it was one of those things. So like that was the formation of Studio within
Okay, we gotta bleep it again.
yeah
Second bleep.
second bleep Studio. Studio.
No, dude, come on. You know what this work is. How would you do that to me?
So then yeah, going to Studio, that definitely was like so many pros and cons
Yeah.
because I learned so much about business, how to run a successful business. Um, and it gave like the image of like an actual put together company. And I had never really had that before because I was just like operating super scrappy, and it was a good move. But in the long term, it just didn't make sense. So I was there for 2.5 years, ended up having like 8 employees in that division, and we were doing a little bit over $1 million a year annually.
And I think
And that
that's when we
was,
met, about that time frame.
yeah, I think we met in that
It was like
era.
2019, 2020, somewhere in there.
Yep. Yeah, that's when I first met you, Brad. Yeah, we bidded on the same project together, and we got it. And that
Nice.
was my first impression of you.
Yeah, great.
Screw
I
this
was
guy.
like, fuck this guy. Like,
What
was
was
like,
the
yeah.
what was the project?
it was for Speed on the Water.
It was in the lead.
Oh, that was
in
in the
the-
lead.
Yeah. So
Oh.
that, and the Mercury relationship was just kind of starting at that point. I would like to dive into that Mercury relationship a little bit, because that's kind of how Brad and I like first met.
Yeah, that was definitely on the list of questions. So
Yeah.
when you bid on the In the Lead series, were you already working with Mercury? And if not, how did that whole relationship start for you?
So was working with Mercury when the In the Lead started. I think we had just gotten our first like annual contract with Mercury that year.
Was this under?
Video.
Damn it, Brad.
It was
A lot of
through that.
points. Yep, that was
Okay.
it was through that. And the whole reason of us getting into Mercury was just, it was wild. Weirdly enough, my mom's best friend is in the sales department at Mercury Racing. When Andrea first got her job at racing, my mom's friend had just like plugged my name. And this was actually like in the shift days. I had a contract with Mercury when I was operating shift. And I was managing their social media for a little bit. But it just like, that relationship started out as a $500 photo shoot. And like I don't know if I don't know if this is something that I should say like publicly or whatever, but like we invoiced, or kind of did like I think like close to $700,000 worth of work for them last year. So it started out with like, yeah, $500 and worked all the way up. And I think
It's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
that was a relationship that I think it's just one of those things where it was like perfect timing. It made sense. The personalities kind of aligned between Andrea and I, and we really built that brand together. She was the brand manager there and had really all the ideas, the ambition. She had the ability to go to procurement and their financial department and request the budget in order to execute things. But I've done like 8 product launches for Mercury at this point, a lot of propellers.
So
Yeah, it ended up being like a really once in a lifetime sort of opportunity.
So now that Andrea is gone and they've gone through some movement within their own company within Brunswick, is that
Right.
relationship still existent for you? You're still doing work with them?
Yep, we're still working with them. Not as frequently. I think what we really did was like, we set that transition up on the racing end to be basically brand maintenance at this point. Like there's nothing that they really have to do at this very moment. It's like repurposing everything that we've created over the past like 6 years and working with it. It's not as strong as it used to be, but I'm okay with that. At the time when that whole thing kind of happened, I took it pretty tough.
Yeah.
I didn't know what my next move was going to be, because all of our work in 2022 and 2023 was around the 400R and 500R launch. And for a small team, like that was our job. Like we were not doing many other things besides launching those 2 products. So when those contracts ended, like after the 500R launch, I was seriously, like, what am I going to do next? I mean, I didn't even have a website for Morpha. Like I was so involved with those two product launches, and I think, I had briefly said like CGI was like our main sort of like cup of tea, but we were responsible for. I mean, I came up with the names of the new midsection, the gear case, created the logos for those new components, all print, all digital design. The website I redesigned. I worked with the developer to be able to execute that. We did the product launch video. We did all the events. I mean, it was,
It's a lot.
it's great to say the financial amount that we sort of like were able to charge for that, but that like with that dollar amount comes a lot of late nights, a lot of stress trying to figure out my new team, because I had gotten fired from a studio, my own company. I did not gracefully get let go. Like I literally got dumped on the street, and during the midst of all that, I basically had to like figure out how to launch two products for Mercury, like flagship products, and start a new business.
Yeah.
And
So when you were with before they dumped you, was the relationship with Mercury, and then when they let you go, you kept the relationship and then started Morpha and carried on?
yeah, so I was risky. Yeah, I definitely I didn't care. Like I didn't care like whose business, whose life I was putting at risk other than my own.
Mm.
I was 100% looking out for myself and what I was going to do. I knew that I was the one that was going to be able to execute everything properly. I knew that Mercury wanted to work with me specifically, and I leveraged that relationship. And I truthfully think that it was the right move for not only me and my business, but also Mercury. And I think that's like such the very important thing about like relationships in business is getting one-off projects is great, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like actually building trust, building a relationship with a brand and people within that brand, having people to back you when you make mistakes, like at a studio where I get fired, and it's like you want that client to basically say, no, we're sticking with the guy that you just fired, like you made the mistake. And that was like huge. Like it was just one of those things where it was just very, I clearly did the right things when it came to relationship building. And
Yeah, it's like
I have a yeah,
it's
I
like
have
it's
a
like
lot of people tell me
validation. It's validation after all that happens.
yeah, I have a lot of people tell me that like I take work too personal sometimes, and I'm maybe working too much, or my communication style is a little bit too laid back for like quote unquote business. But like, what is business today? Like what is it? You have these big companies, all the suits, ties, everything showing up and writing these big contracts, and I'm a young business owner trying to figure out this new market, and I'm going to do things in my style and communicate in my way. I'm going to grab a beer with the client if I want to,
I mean,
and build that relationship.
you didn't go through everything that you went through to do things somebody else's way. I mean, that's especially being in the creative space, you want to be self-expressive, you want to be your own person, you want to be comfortable doing that even when you're having conversations with potential clients, and it's kind of like the work
Right.
speaks for itself, I feel. So if you don't like the work, then that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good point. And like I'm when it comes to people telling me how to operate my own business, I'm the worst listener of all time. And I think that's where the relationship kind of like uh dissolved, was just like I was being told how to operate my own business. I trust my judgment more than anybody else's opinion, and I'm going to do my own thing and not look back.
You had told me at one point that selling was the worst decision that you had made. But when you lay out that whole story, I mean, you kind of painted a picture where you didn't really have any other choice at that moment. And then doing that and going through everything that you went through, keeping Mercury on, and now going into Morpha, I mean, you've got to look back and go like, well, I went through all that, but I'm here today and I've learned a lot through that. So maybe it wasn't a bad decision. Maybe that was just part of your hard knocks or your version of college where you just spent 4 years going through the trenches and now you're out doing things your way. And it looks like you're doing pretty well for yourself right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think I forget when I might have told you that. My opinion on that scenario has gone up, down over the past few years. Like it's taken me a while to kind of understand that situation. Because during the transition, I really didn't have a lot of time to sit and wait and think. Like it was very go, go, go. And looking back, like very thankful for everything that taught me, gave me. My boss, the president of that company was incredible. You know, he was always on my side. It just didn't work. You know, you blend architects and engineers with creatives, and there is just this mesh. And I am like on the far end of the creative spectrum where it's just like my brain doesn't work like the mathematicians and the book readers. Like I do things just very, very, very differently. And I've come to just accept that and be okay with that and create a business that operates like that.
So maybe you could tell us a little bit about what kind of products that you're offering today, because I know it's very different than doing a photo video shoot or managing social media. Like I'm pretty interested to hear about what you're doing.
Basically what we do now, within the past year, I've refined all the services to just stick to what I really love to do, and that is, you know, CGI. So when it comes to, I think the best example of this is the 500R product launch. That entire like first minute 20 like part in the beginning, that is a lot of what we're doing now. So we're doing product launches, exploded views of products, basically creating photorealistic images off of CAD data, and creating videos, animations, static images around computer generated imagery. And it's been really fun. Every project is challenging. You know, we try to constantly improve in everything that we do. And I think what we love about CGI is we have 100% control over our images, where IRL is very, especially in the marine industry.
Yeah.
You're on the
Water
water.
and lighting, and is the
You
boat
have to deal with
clean?
all
And
of that.
yeah.
You have, yeah. And I think really starting in that marine industry got me out of it in the IRL standpoint, because I can't control the sun, I can't control clouds, I cannot control waves or, you know, how products are running. But in CGI, I can control the scale of the product, the lighting, how much we want to light it, how we want it to feel and look, and where we want cameras to be. That's all in our control. And I think that's where I kind of get really obsessed with the work that we do is we can put 100% of our creative effort into something and make it exactly how we want it.
And you do all of this work in Blender, right? So when did that start for you? When did you pick up Blender? Is just a thing that you wanted to practice or get involved in?
Yeah, so Blender, I started in Keyshot back in the Shift media days.
Okay.
So I've always been doing like 3D, not to like the extent that we're doing it now. And I definitely don't want to like take credit for every single piece of work that we've published. Like my team is literally incredible. I mean, I have I feel some of the best artists like in Blender working for me, and I'm thankful. Um, they solve problems and do things that I could never do. But when it comes to sort of like composition and how we want to light things and how we want to have projects start and finish, that's really where I come in.
So did you get to know Blender well enough to operate a business within it, but then kind of enlist experts that actually work within Blender?
Yeah, like I can move around the program. But when it comes to the sort of like water simulation and even managing like CAD data that has millions and millions of polygons and all that stuff, like I can get around it, but I trust professionals. You know, I trust my team to be able to solve problems that I might not be able to.
Okay, cool.
My creative role right now is literally like I'm the business owner, but I'm also like the editor, I'm the colorist, I'm the sound designer. I storyboard the projects and I do R&D. So I'm kind of like I get the project from start to finish, but then I'm also like the finishing toucher.
That's
So
pretty cool.
yeah, I mean
the process.
yeah, for sure. Put yourself in the position to have like creative control over an entire project, but then be able to work with people that are going to be able to do what you need them to do. It'd be like a music producer working with specific musicians on their instruments and finally bringing something
it's so
together.
Enticing too. Like I love having control over all those elements. And like I never really thought about CGI being like, well, you can put the camera and the lights and everything wherever you want. You can make it rain, you can make it sunny. Like it's kind of I'm gonna have to like
Tempting.
get into this a little bit.
Yeah, Brad's gonna go into CGI now because he doesn't have to deal with rain and people.
Yeah. Yeah, so we do, along with CGI, we're doing a lot with augmented reality as well, because that's still within like the 3D world. So a good sort of like industry example of that with like Mercury, you know, you can view those products like in augmented reality, both propellers and engines. That was all work that we did. And we're really just trying to figure out how does a consumer want to experience a product when they're not actually in front of it?
Yeah.
You know, whether that's through an animation or that's through augmented reality, what are the things that we can do, or what are the problems that we can solve that make that experience as customizable, but also like as engaging as possible?
That had to come out of COVID, right? Like where people couldn't go to showrooms and like that's got to be where that sparked.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think COVID was one of the best, but also one of the worst things to happen to society. Like it made everyone think different. It made businesses operate different. It pushed technology in a direction that I don't think we would have had the Apple Vision Pro come out when it did if we didn't have COVID.
Yeah.
I think there are products that specifically got created for a society that's operating like Ready Player One.
And you know,
and whether people agree with that or not, like you're not going to stop Apple, a $1 trillion company, to not develop a product. Like they're in business to make money. Like they're going to make decisions and make products that people are going to buy. So
the business that we got through COVID was huge for us too. Everybody was investing in content, and I just remember this one phone call stands out to me. Lady at the bank calls me and she's like following up with all of her clients or all the people that have bank accounts at that bank, and just asking them how they're all doing. And she calls me. I'm like, yeah, things are great. Like getting these new clients, like this retainer work, like all this stuff. And she's like, wow, I've had like 20 calls today, and you're the first one that has had anything good come out of this. I'm like, well,
Well,
I guess we're in the right spot because that really helped us. I mean, that gave us the new work, gave us the opportunities to show what we could do, and in a very similar fashion, creating these new products and things that you were able to do. Like for the creative world, COVID was fair. It was good to us.
mhm. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to like screen time.
Yeah, it went up. Simple
People
as
are
that.
just eyes on those phones. It's not slowing down, and I think I'm thankful to be in this industry, and I'm sure you guys are too. Like it's actually a miracle that we get paid to do what we do. Because when I first kind of started in the entire thing, like in high school, being a photographer or being a video guy was something I don't think a lot of people were really dreaming to be of that. But now you have people that are creating TikToks and trying to like post the nicest photo on Instagram and all this stuff. And it's like everyone kind of wants to be in this industry, but they don't know how to get there. And when I started, and even when like Scrapyard started too, it was still like very that was kind of the transition point.
And I hope that, guests like you and like Tom last week continue to come on and tell their stories because it should be inspiration for the next generation and the next wave of creative minded
Mm.
people that struggle with business because it's hard to find somebody that's both creative and business savvy. So hopefully these stories help people and continue to push people to get out of their comfort zone and create a life doing something that they love to do. I know we've found that here. It sounds like you've found that with what you're doing, and we just wish that for everybody that wants to take that path.
Running a business can be scary, but I think it's important to realize too, like if you are not a finance guy, like if you don't find yourself really loving numbers, you can hire somebody to do that.
Yeah.
You know, you can hire somebody to do your taxes. You can hire somebody to handle things that you don't want to do so that you are doing the right thing. And that's something that I'm saying that as if I'm like ingrained in that I've known that for a long time. Like, no, I probably found that out like a few months ago.
It's never too late.
Yeah, Brad found that out a little over a year ago, and that's why I'm here. So.
Yeah, it's like delegate, figure things out, find people that you trust. Really do your research and make decisions off of your gut.
And something else I want to see people do is open up and work with people in the industry. People that you might naturally think of as a competitor. Like
Yeah.
your initial reaction to the project that we both bidded for. Yet, how many times have we worked on something in the past now? And we're having this conversation today, and we're trying to help the next generation. The more that we can work together, the better our work will be, the better relationships we'll have, and we'll just feel better in general about ourselves.
I totally agree. I think if there's one kind of negative thing about the industry, it can be very competitive.
It doesn't have
And
to be. There's so much work,
Yeah, and I would be lying to the two of you if I didn't say that I'm very competitive when it comes to work. And I will always be that, like I'm always going to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you need to have that to some degree. You need to have the feeling that you're the one to do the job and no one else is going to do it like you do. Because weirdly enough, when you go into a room with a big business, you need to be able to sell what you're doing. And if you want like 6-figure projects, like you have to be extremely confident. Like even if behind the scenes you can't figure it out, know the right people in the industry to be able to help you to figure it out. And I think that's where the collaboration comes in, is when you are needing help, having the right people to call.
Yeah, not being too stubborn to make that call.
Yeah, like there's a good balance, and turning it on and off is also a really good
Yeah,
thing.
there's nothing wrong with a little bit of healthy competition for sure. It's just when you lose that competition, handling it gracefully, or if you think, okay, at this point, I'm not going to be able to win without some help, being able to reach out for that help, not be too stubborn.
Absolutely. Relationships are everything. And I think that's any industry. I think it's just the ability to call, have a conversation, and be like honest with that person. That's where good stuff comes in.
Well, we're at about 45 minutes or so, so we know time is precious, obviously.
There's still more I
I
wanted
know
to get to.
we
Yeah,
got.
I feel like I need to hear your guys' stuff too. You got to extend this 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Just isn't.
we're still figuring out the format for sure, but
We'll do it again.
yeah, we'll have you back on. We didn't talk about the Milwaukee Bucks at all,
I
which I'm just
know.
going to throw that out there.
We're gonna talk about it.
Which is
you guys are. Do you have a meeting
insane.
after this?
Yeah, we have a shoot after this. We're about to go out on.
We're about to go deal with that sunlight that I can't see right now.
Yeah,
I
we
have
have
no
to-
idea where it is.
We have to leave the office.
We can talk about the Bucks quick though,
Okay.
because that's an interesting story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fill us in on how you even started that relationship. And like, I watched the video earlier today. I don't know where it's hosted at other than on your website, but the 23-24 hype video. So how did you fall into the Bucks?
So I was living in Milwaukee at the time. My neighbor, who lived directly across from me, trades the players. He's the director of like strategy at the Bucks.
Oh,
Wow.
My fiance and I had a really good relationship with them. We would grab drinks and all that stuff. And once we grabbed drinks, and he said that, he was higher up in the organization, I called my team and I was like, we're doing a spec video. Like, we're going to create something for free, send it to them. And that's one of the advantages about CGI is like, we don't need to go somewhere to shoot. Like, we can take a basketball model and fuck it up basically and create something that's like really weird and send it off and see what they think. So we created a spec video. I sent it to him through iMessage. And then like a week later, I was at the Bucks office, like meeting with their creative team.
Wow.
That was pure luck. But also like,
Not really.
I think we obviously had like the skill and the ability to pull that off. So that's something that's like earned. But I think having him as my neighbor and then just having like him being also young and willing to sort of like push us up the chain to be able to get that is something that I would call luck. You can't ask or force somebody to do that. But yeah, so we did that hype video, and then we did like some stuff for the playoffs for them. I wish they would have gotten further in the season because we were also contracted to do like championship creative for this year.
so you had a lot more riding on that than just the average fan.
Yeah, I did. I was like, man, if we could create like a design system for like the Bucks championship, and like if they were to actually win it, like that would be posted by like ESPN and all this stuff. And I was pretty excited. But at the end of the day, like life moves on, and
There's
I'm
always
sure
next.
we'll be working with them next season.
There's always next season.
Okay, you are doing it again?
I don't know for sure. But I know that they were super happy with everything that we did, and I'm hoping that it continues to grow.
Nice.
But yeah, it was it's a fun client. I think for a studio like us, it's pretty awesome that we get to work with an NBA team.
Have you met any of the players?
Yes. Yeah, I met all of them actually.
So like
Nice.
in that hype video, you have like Dame Lillard and Giannis and Lopez. So like Were you at those shoots when they were getting that video to then implement into the whole thing?
Yeah, there was another agency involved in shooting that. We were mainly like the CGI partner, but then we also edited and colored the entire thing. So there
Wow.
was a lot of collaboration happening. But yeah, at the time I was like a minute away from Fiserv Forum, so I would pop over there to like grab files, talk with the team if I needed to, and just figure out like what this video looked like. But I was editing that video up until 5 minutes before it got published.
Just like the Mercury videos.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the way it goes sometimes.
It is, and I'm really trying to figure out how to get out of that. Like, why are projects?
Well, you could keep working on it still today, right? Like it's never perfect. You're always going to have something that you could slightly tweak or slightly enhance. So without deadlines, I don't think we'd ever get anything done.
I would agree with that.
All right, well, good. I'm glad we got to squeeze that one in because that's obviously that we were very curious about that, how that all came to be.
But we're definitely going to have you back on because I want to talk more about like sensation stuff. I want to talk about Tesla. I had a list of things, so
we have a lot to chat about.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
We'll do part 2.
Yeah, for sure. Until then, we appreciate you hopping on, giving us the time. Again, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brevin.
No, thank you guys too. The platform is incredible. A lot of credit to you guys for setting this up. I know it's not easy. And I love what you're doing, so keep it up. Hit me up for a part 2.
Absolutely.
I'll be around.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Okay. See you guys.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
I think it'd be awesome to work Brevin's work into something that we have, like a project or something, because his animation skills and his team's skills are so good. I mean, if the Bucks and Mercury Racing and whoever else he's got in the hopper using his stuff, like, it's the best of the best.